All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the VGF Strat Corner podcast. We're only a couple characters away from closing out the cast for T6. Of course, in preparation for Tag 2, everybody's getting real hyped for that. So I am your host, Scott, aka Zhang on the boards, and we're doing Miguel today, and we only got one characters, I should say, left after this one. That's the Bears. So hopefully that'll be a hype podcast. But for this episode, we're kind of taking a different route, so to speak. My guest is it's a name that everybody at least in the tournament scene should know, but not really known for Miguel, really. So it should be an interesting podcast. But with that, let me introduce my guest, Fighting GM. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
So before we actually talk about Miguel, I do kind of like to do like a little background for my guests. For I don't know, maybe players who don't know who you are, maybe they're just new to the scene, something like that. Obviously, you're a big name out there. I believe that you are sponsored, correct?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, you're working on it, right? We're trying to get that sponsorship. Well, for those who may not know who you are, or I don't know, maybe they're under a rock or something. Give us kind of a bit of a background on your fighting game career. Like, what did you start with? How did obviously everyone knows you as Lee. You're very very loyal to that character. So, kind of take us through the path that got you there.
Well, I started playing fighting games when I was small, like Super Nintendo era, like Street Fighter 2, World Heroes, and games like that. So I used to play mostly like a lot of 2D fighters, like also like SNK fighters like King of Fighters and whatnot. So I mostly started with 2D, and then around the PlayStation era, I played the Tekken 2 demo, and then after that, um, Tekken 3 came out, and that's the Tekken game I played the most at first, Tekken 3.
So, were you doing the tournament thing for any of these 2Ds, or was it just you're just a kid playing it?
Just mostly casual. I used to play in arcades sometimes, and I used to play Kalera online. I used to do that. I used to play a lot of like 2D fighters like KOF like online or whatnot, but I never played in tournaments.
Gotcha. So what was your first tournament game then?
5.0.
5.0. And then I think if I remember correctly, you busted onto the scene with T6. So what was your experience with T5? Like, did you get around very often, or was it mostly just like local New York stuff?
Well, 5.0, it was mostly a lot of New York tournaments because that game was really big in the East Coast when it came out. So I did a lot of Chinatown Fair tournaments. That was an arcade that was open in New York back then. And so I used to enter a lot of New York tournaments for that game. And I traveled to one major for 5.0, Clash. That's what it was called. It was in Jersey.
Hmm.
So I went to one major for 5.0, but I started traveling more when late Tekken DR. I used to travel a lot more.
Gotcha. So obviously, everybody's getting real hyped for tag. It's there's a lot of differing opinions on it. A lot of people think that a bunch of the old schoolers are going to come out and kind of show these youngins how it's done now that we have two characters. But I am curious because you're very much a loyalist when it comes to Lee. So I fully expect you to adapt to the two character style, but what other characters? I don't even know what other characters you play. Like what other characters are you looking at to back up Lee?
I've been playing since the game is not gonna be out till like September, and T6 is kind of dead now. I've just been messing around with like random characters. I play Jack. Also, I play a bit of Lars and Paul, and some Bruce.
That's you just listed kind of a bunch of top tier characters there. I know the Lars, Bruce. So are you thinking that you're gonna pair Lee with a top tier character, or are you looking for a character that's just like fun for you?
Well, it depends. Because the game, Tag 2 is a lot different. Like the properties and the frames of characters' moves and stuff.
Mhm.
And like even their juggles is a lot different. Like juggle starters and whatnot and bound enders, they changed a lot of stuff. So I was just gonna wait till tag, so I get my hands fully on tag to decide who I'm gonna pair up with Lee. But so far, it's mostly I'm probably gonna use Lee and Jack. Lee and Paul looks real strong too. So Maybe some Bob too. I use some Bob too.
Yeah. Well, you do have one of the bigger Bob players, or at least the Bob names there in New York with Fab, which I guess that's actually a good segue to go into Miguel, because one of the things that I thought would be really interesting with this podcast, since you're typically a Lee player, but Fab, for those who know him or have seen him play or anything like that, most people know that he also plays Miguel. Last year in Evo, he also things weren't going so well in Grand Finals, so he actually switched to Miguel for I think at least one set. So people got to see it a little bit there. But, I'm guessing that you probably don't play Miguel too much, but you probably play against him quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to hear the defensive perspective for Miguel. So let's just kind of jump into this character with that. Now, for me, everything that I've seen and everything I know about Miguel, he's sort of like a jack in the sense that he doesn't have a very big move list, so you kind of have to dumb him down a little bit and just stick to a few core moves and strings. And for me, everything that I've seen, it's all the down forward one string. It's just everything revolves around the down forward one string. So do you agree with that, or do you see different strategies? What's your opinion on that? Do you think that's where his offense begins and ends?
Yeah, I think his whole game plan revolves around down forward one, pretty much.
So kind of flesh that out a little bit. What off of down forward one is so scary, or what do you have to look for?
Well, after down forward one, he can go into Savage, and most of his mind games is off of down forward one. He has strings like down forward 1-1, down forward 1-2, and stuff like that. It's basically his whole game is basically baiting somebody after down forward one, so he could set up launchers and other things and counter hits.
Okay, so down forward. You mentioned down forward 1-1 and down forward 1-2. Now down forward 1-2, I believe it's the only mid option that he has out of it, unless he goes into stance. But obviously that takes some time. So when you're playing against Miguel, once that down forward one comes out, what are you thinking? What are you doing? What sorts of things are you looking for?
Basically, Miguel, his down forward one is zero on block, mm-hmm. And he doesn't Savage stance isn't too great because of mostly when I block a down forward one, I'm mostly fishing for a magic 4, since he doesn't really have any great counter hit tools like high crushes, mm-hmm. And he has Savage too. If he does down forward one and then goes into Savage, he could Savage 2 you to high crush. But even that doesn't instant high crush a lot of the time, so that'll get beat out sometimes too.
So you're not too scared about him continuing the string and going on to down forward 1-1 or down forward 1-2. That doesn't really concern you all that much?
Not really. It's just most you eat is chip damage. It's not really too scary.
Gotcha. So what about if he stops at the down forward 1 and then does the sweep? What is it? Down back 2? Is that right?
Down back 1.
Down back 1, yeah. So does that, because I think that high crush is correct. That would go under the magic 4. Does that worry you at all?
Sometimes it doesn't even high crush up close because the startup is slow. So the most I'll be scared about when somebody does a down for one on block, they could do down for one, make you block a down for one, then sidestep hop kick.
And if I remember correctly, his hop kick is it's a little slow, right? It's not 15 frames; it's 16, I think.
It's 15. It just really is. It's just kind of bad on block. It's -14.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that was the difference on it. Yeah, I knew there was something weird with it. So yeah, it's not -12. It's negative 14. So, but it's still 15. That's weird that the the frame says -15 to 16. Do you know? Is there any instance where it would be -16?
No, I don't. I think it's always -14.
Oh no, sorry. I mean the startup for it, for impact. Because it's a 15 frame move, but for whatever reason it says, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the frame data on avoiding the puddle, and for whatever reason it lists it as 15 to 16 for the startup frames, which is really weird. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, I think it's always 15.
Always 15. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so we were talking about down forward 1. not a whole lot that he can do if he just continues the string. So because you just have the 1 and 2 options, I think. So let's talk about Savage then a little bit. You mentioned Savage 2, so that high crushes a little bit, and obviously that's a juggle starter. It's, as far as I know, it's not too bad on block. It's only -12, it says. So I mean that's not too horrible relative to how much damage he gets off of it. But let's say. Now you're playing Lee, so you have a Magic 4. But let's say you have a character that's maybe a little slower, or maybe their Magic 4 just sucks, whatever it may be. What if he goes into Savage? What other things can he do aside from 2?
It's actually is Savage down 4-2. It was a mistypo. It's Savage down 4-2. That it high crushes, but is -15. But it like the pushback. Not every character can punish it hard because of the pushback on block. And he doesn't have too much from Savage. He has a couple of lows from Savage that are okay.
So okay, you'll have to fill me in a little bit. So what lows does he have?
He has like Savage down 4, Savage down 4-3, but it's really punishable. It's -15.
Which one's just the little like toe sweep? Is that the 4 or the 3?
The little toe sweep?
Yeah.
That he has like a low and then a mid, right?
I'm not sure. I just remember like people kind of poke with it a little bit. Like it doesn't knock down or anything. It just gives him like a little chip damage.
Yes, down back 3.
Down back 3. Okay.
So, yeah, that's only -13 and it's +5 on hit. That's not that bad.
That's not too bad. Can he go into Savage off of that, or?
Yes, he could go into Savage afterwards.
So that's a little annoying string right there. So okay, so the other ones that you mentioned, you said down 4 and then down 3, I believe. Was that the other one that you said?
Down 4-3.
Down 4.
It's a 2 string.
Gotcha. So what sorts of things does he get? Are those knockdowns? Because for whatever reason, I'm actually not pulling up an image of those moves in my head.
Oh no, it's a chip blow. Down 4 and down 4-3 is a chip blow. It's like 2 hits.
And then you said it was -15?
Yeah, it's launch punishable.
Wow, that's kind of lame for chip damage. So and does he doesn't have any grabs or anything out of it, does he?
No, he doesn't have no grabs out of Savage.
So when he goes into Savage, you're not really all that scared if you just sit there and block. Like the most you'll take is maybe some chip damage.
Yeah, he could chip you a bit. He could chip you with stuff, but that's about it though.
Yeah, so
and he could do like he has down 4-1 out of Savage too, so he could chip you. But like when he goes into Savage, you could just stop everything with a Magic 4.
So if you're the Miguel player, then what do you do to get around that? What if let's say they're playing a Lee or somebody else that has Law who has a strong Magic 4 game? What sorts of things can you do to get around that?
You could basically when you go into Savage, make sure you go into Savage out of moves that give like good plus frames on hit. So if somebody tries a Magic 4, you could just interrupt them out of it.
Oh, when you say interrupt, are you thinking like another down forward 1 or something else?
Yeah, you could do like another down forward 1.
Is there anything stronger that may have like maybe bigger rewards or anything like that?
He has this move from Savage. It's like he has this counter hit move, but I'm not sure what's the notation to it.
Oh, what does it look like?
It's like he does like a little sidestep and hits you. Like it's like a high. He does like a little sidestep and he hits you like on your head.
I take it it's a punch.
Yeah, it's a punch.
Let's see. Looking through the move list here. I feel like such a noob. I never play this character at all. Maybe 1+2. I don't know if that's it or not. But it looks like it. Do you have the game pulled up there in front of you? Because we can test it. Test it live.
Yeah, I'm putting the game on now.
Okay, so we'll come back to that then. While you're doing that. So what sorts of moves does he have that go into Savage that would give him plus frames? Because we talked about the down forward 1, so we don't have to talk about that anymore. But what else gives him like really good advantage?
He can go into Savage 1-2-4. That's +10 on hit. You can do 1-2-4 and then forward, and he goes in Savage is +10. He also has 2-1. His 2-1 jab. If you go into Savage, it's +7. Or if you don't go to Savage, it's still +7.
And that's also his 12 frame Punisher, right? I believe. Because those are like the slaps, right?
Yeah, so actually that's 11 frame punish.
Ah, is that? But that would also be his go-to for the 12 frame, I would imagine. If he.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Also, let me see what else he has. He has a couple of lows that go into Savage too. Like he has actually he could go down 4-1. He has a string is down 4-4-1-1. Down 4-4-1 forward. You can go into Savage, it's +5. Also down back 3, he could go into Savage. It's only +3, and that's about it.
So for the most part, when you're playing with Miguel, it sounds like your whole game, in addition to the down forward 1 string, is just getting frames and then getting into Savage. Does that sound about right, or are you maybe sitting back and like waiting for a whiff punish or something?
Mostly is about like making your opponent whiff and like whiff punishment. Because Savage, like at the highest level of plays, most Miguels don't even use Savage at all.
Really?
Yeah, because it's too like that stance has too many flaws to it. Like you could easily counter hit him out of a lot of things, and nothing from Savage really tracks at all.
Oh wow, I was not aware of that. So okay, so when you're trying to whiff punish, obviously he has hop kick. What other tools does he have for whiff punishing?
He has a down 4-2-1 is twin pistons.
Ah yes, I forgot about that.
He has also 4-4-2-1.
And that's just a natural string, right? Just slams him down, I think.
Yeah, that's a natural string.
Okay, so the hop kick is 15 frames. Down 4-2-1, that's 16 frames. And then the forward 2, that's 20. But that's pretty long range, right? From what I remember, that reaches pretty far.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so that would be super long range punish. So for the quick stuff, like let's say you don't have the 15 plus frames to punish, are you usually doing like a 2-1 into Savage, or what would you do from there?
After what did you say?
Just like a really small window for a punish, or like let's say that you just block punish, like maybe a hop kick or something like that. Like you're only going to get jabs, but is your best case scenario in that to do like a 2-1 into Savage, or maybe like 2-1 into something else?
Your best bet, just do 2-1 into something else that's not in Savage, like a poke or something like that. Maybe another down forward 1 or down back 3.
And I take it you have the game pulled up now?
Yeah.
Hey, what's that Savage move we were talking about earlier? The one where he sidesteps, the counter hit thing.
It's Savage. Savage 0-4-3 is on counter hit. He gets something, gets a juggle, a full juggle.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, we're done with the Savage stuff, but I figured just for reference, let people know. So I did have a question about his lows, because you mentioned a couple of lows that he can go into Savage, whatever, pokes. But I see a lot of people doing the down back 1 stuff. Now down back 1, as far as I'm aware, it's seeable, so you can't just spam it or anything like that. But is that still his main like threat to get you to duck, or are you mostly maybe focusing on throws or something else?
He has well, yeah, that's a good move to make somebody duck, but you can see it, and it's risky because it's a knockdown low. Mostly, you should be doing stuff like down back 3, or down back 3-4, or down 4, down 3, stuff like that. Down back 4 is pretty good too, because even though it's launch punch, it has good range, and it's like +2 or +3 on hit. So those are pretty much as good. He got good chip lows.
Gotcha. So okay, so you got the lows. It sounds like down forward 1 just is pretty much everyone's generic go-to mid poke. So does he? And then he has the the 2-1 jab strings, anything like that. Does he have any other like really good pokes that maybe we haven't mentioned?
Down 4. That's not that bad. Down 4 is good. Uh, as for mid pokes, he has a down 4 3-2. That's good. That's a mid, and it's 29 damage. Um, what else he has? He has of course the string down forward 4-1. You could do down forward 4-1-1. Problem with that is mid high. Is mid high mid, so you can duck the second hit. But the first 2 is natural.
And can you delay that at all? Is it hit confirmable?
You can delay the last hit to bait counter hits, because the last hit on counter hit you gotta juggle.
If I remember correctly, that is also his main wall carry, right?
Yeah, that's his main wall carry also.
And is that also the same string that he usually ends his wall juggles in, or is it something else?
Yeah, that's the string he ends his wall juggles with.
Okay, so as far as like juggles are concerned, that sounds like that's like the go-to string for most of his stuff.
Sometimes if you're not up close on the wall enough, you get 4-4-2-1.
Does he? I know the full crouch sweep. I believe it's full crouch down forward 4. That the only thing you get off of that is forward 2-1, right?
His knockdown sweep is actually launch punishable, and the only thing he can do is 4-4-2-1. You're correct.
Gotcha. So is it even worth? Because I see every once in a while Miguel's throwing that out. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're expecting jabs or whatever it is. Is it even worth it? I mean, does he have better options than that?
On the wall, it's good because you hit them on the wall, and then they tech roll, and then you can mix them up again. So it's not bad. It's not that bad.
Gotcha. Okay, so we got the pokes taken care of. I did want to talk a little bit more about punishing, just to make sure that we kind of cover everything on it. So at 10 frames he has 1-2. 1-2-4 is not a natural string, right? Or is it?
1-2-4, no, it's not natural.
Okay, so he just has the 1-2, and then for 11 and 12 as well, 2-1, and then does he have anything special for 14? I thought he had a push or something.
Yeah, that's forward 1+2.
Yeah.
He gets forward 1+2 into down 1+2.
Gotcha. So is that that doesn't bound though, right? That's just a guaranteed hit after it.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't bound, but it does a lot of damage. It does 51 damage.
Well, that's pretty good off 14 frames. And then he has the hop kick at 15 frames, and then down 4-2-1 at 16. We haven't talked too much about the wall standing stuff. Now, I just mentioned the full crouch down forward 4. Every once in a while, I actually do see Miguel's go for that big sweep as opposed to just doing a juggle starter off of that. Now I know he has wall standing 2-2 at 15 frames, but I'm guessing that there's something with the range on it that would make somebody do the sweep instead.
I don't really know. I guess people do the sweep to like catch somebody off guard when they can't punish something, but it's really risky.
Gotcha. So, and while standing 2-2-2, I mean that does pretty good damage, right? I mean that's
pretty good.
That's a juggle starter, I believe, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, you get a juggle off of that, or you could just do cross cancel into hop kick,
gotcha.
Or just do a straight up hop kick.
And then I think he has a generic while standing 4 at 11 frames. He doesn't have anything special at 13, right? A negative 13 for while standing. I think it's just while standing 4 until you get a launch.
He just has while standing 4. That's it for 11.
Gotcha. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we covered all of that. And then he does have a slow hop kick, right? Like the mini jump into the launch hop kick. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, delay hop kick.
Yep, delay hop kick. Yep. Okay, so he has that. So okay, cool. So we got the punishers taken care of. Let's see. So we started talking about juggles and wall carry and all of that good stuff. Now it's not. I think we for the most part we covered it. I believe because he has the down forward 1 string, which we mentioned, which is his main. I believe his main. Wall carry and whatnot, as well as wall damage once you get there. If I remember correctly, he does have some other stuff to like float them higher. I'm trying to think of what it might be. Yeah. It's not down forward 2-1, I don't think.
Before you bound somebody on the wall, you do a down forward 1 to savage, then you do a Savage 1-2-1.
And then that pops him up, right? It ends with an uppercut.
Pull his string and then knocks him in the wall, and then you can run up and bound him.
Gotcha. And then the main bound tool is down forward 2-2, right? Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah, you can use that, or you could use stuff like, or you could use down 2.
Down 2. Yeah. What? Refresh my memory. What is down 2?
It's an elbow. He just elbows you down.
Oh yeah. Like okay. Yeah, and that's actually, I believe that's also a pretty decent pressure tool, right? That gives him plus frames on block, I think.
No, I don't think. Nah, yeah, it's +6 on block, or +4. It's +4 on block.
Maybe I had that mixed up. Oh, no, that's Yeah, it says on hit +4 to +6.
Yeah.
And then on block, I guess it's not too good. It says -7 and -5.
Yeah, it's like -7 or 5. Yeah.
But I mean, it puts him in crouch, so I guess you have some options there. Again, kind of to go back to what I said earlier, he's kind of a Jack type character where there's not really a whole lot of variance to what he can do. So aside from what we just mentioned, I mean, are there any other special, like maybe juggle traps or anything that he has? Like I'm not aware of anything, but I don't know.
He has let me see. He has some counter hit setups and baits. Like he has a back 1+2. That was the move I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's 11 frames. And on counter hit, he gets a juggle for it, and it's -12 on block.
So how would you set that up on a juggle, just like a tech roll thing, or?
No, I'll just you hit somebody with something like a down back 3 or a down forward 1, and you pretty much bait them to do something. Like let's say they try to, you hit them with you make them block a down forward 1. They try to do a down forward 1 back at you. Just do back 1+2.
Gotcha. Okay, so anything like out of juggles, I don't think he has any tech traps, but I mean I'll just throw that out because I don't play Miguel too often, but I take it he's pretty standard with his juggles. I mean no like real.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any tech traps or nothing like that.
Okay,
just basic wall carry.
So any other like good bait? I mean, down forward 1 obviously kind of sets up for a lot of stuff because it leaves both characters at 0. But aside from the back 1+2 that you just mentioned, any other like tricky baits or anything that you might have to watch out for if you're playing Miguel?
He has forward 2. That's a counter hit move too, and it high crushes sometimes.
Oh, sometimes. How is it? Like a pretty small window, or?
Yeah, the window is small. It's like 15 frames. That's why. So.
Gotcha. And I would presume that you use like the same sort of thing to set it up, like down forward 1 or maybe like a poke or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Any other ones that you can think of, or?
Let me see. He gets frame advantage off his 1+2 grab on hit. When you grab somebody with down forward 1+2.
Mm-hmm. And that just leaves you like face to face, right? That doesn't like knock you down or anything.
Nah, that just leaves face. No knockdown or nothing.
What's the frames on that? Do you know?
On the throw,
because unfortunately it doesn't list grabs in the frame data that I'm looking at, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he gets plus frames for it. He also has his homie move is good too. Like some people could hit confirm, but it's pretty hard to hit confirm, and the only problem with it is that it's launch punishable the second hit.
And what that's a big kick, right? Was it like forward 4 or something like that?
Yeah, forward 4 1+2. No, forward 4 2. My bad.
Forward 4 2.
Yeah, forward 4 and 2. It wall splats. He gets a combo.
I'm thinking about something completely different. What does forward 4 2 look like?
It's forward 4 2.
Yeah. What does it look like? I mean, obviously it's a punch, but
it's like a spin kick into like a big punch.
Okay, so I am thinking of the right move. That starts with a 2?
No, it starts with forward 4. There's a big kick and then a punch.
Oh, okay. I heard you wrong. I thought you were saying forward 2. I was like, what?
Forward 2. Yeah, forward 2.
Okay, I get it. And then he doesn't have a forward 4, right? So you can do that as forward.
Yeah, you could do that like that. He doesn't have no moves that's forward, 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 nothing like that.
Okay, cool. So that's good to know. Okay, God, man, I was so confused for a second. I was like, why is a kick starting with a 2? But okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I see Miguel's throwing that out every once in a while. That is that a high or a mid?
That's a mid.
That's a mid. Okay. Do you happen to know, is the window like? I take it you said some people can and some people can't hit confirm it. So I take it the window's pretty small for that.
To me, it's more like it's an anticipation type thing. I don't really think you could hit confirm it.
So since you have the game there in front of you, I take it there's like no real delay for the 2. You pretty much have to do it.
It's a small delay. It's kind of impractical.
Gotcha. Okay, so we were talking about he got his homing move. Okay, that's actually a good kind of segue into his tracking, because you mentioned earlier how his moves out of Savage don't really track all that well. Aside from forward 4, is that pretty much true for all of his standing moves as well?
His lows track to his weak side.
Which side is that? His left, I take it.
Yeah, that's his left. That's his weak side. That's so you can avoid down forward 1 and everything else pretty much.
Gotcha. So if you're trying to get around him and you're sidestepping right to go to his weak side, what are you really scared about stuff like down back 1 or anything like that? Or do you think, because it's pretty slow, right? I mean, so you'd think maybe you have enough time to I don't know, hop kick it or something out after you sidestep.
Well, there's nothing really scary. The most you eat is his lows if you sidestep to his weak side. That's about it.
So I would imagine that down back 1 gives you the best damage if he happens to catch you that way. Does he get the regular juggle if he's off access, or does he just get like maybe forward 2-1?
I believe that's the only low he has that doesn't track to his weak side.
Oh, down back 1 doesn't track to the left side?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
All his other lows do though. Most of his chip lows do.
So there's really no incentive to stop you from trying to sidestep right.
Yeah, the only chip lows that will hit you is down back 3 and down back 4. That's it.
Huh. So pretty much you can just kind of walk him all day then, huh?
You can walk him to that side pretty much. It's weird too because he has a down 4-4-1, the string down 4-4-1-1.
Yeah.
If you that tracks a bit, but it's weird because if you're in Miguel's face right off, like range 0, you can sidewalk it even though his leg is going that way. If you had like range 2 or 1, it'll hit you.
That's kind of goofy on that range thing. So is that the only kind of quirky move that he has like that, or are there others that he might accidentally catch you with?
I think that's the only move pretty much. His tracking to that side is pretty bad.
Wow, that's actually new. I knew he had some tracking issues. I didn't realize it was that bad to his left side. One thing kind of along the same lines that I wanted to ask about was his general safety, because we talked about earlier his hop kick. It's standard 15 frames, but it's negative 14 as opposed to the average negative 12 or so. Are most of his moves that punishable? Because I thought that he had some issues with that, but I'm not 100% sure.
His 4-4-2-1 is like minus 14. And you could duck the second hit. What else? His down forward 1-2, which you can also use as a 13 frame punish. Second hit, of course, is jab punishable. His homing move, if you do the whole thing, is launch punishable. Down forward 2-1 is launch punishable. What else? Down back 4 is launch punishable. So he doesn't. You can play safe with him, but I don't really consider him a really unsafe character.
Gotcha. Just kind of average. Like some things are unsafe, but some other things are safe.
Yeah, but you have to take risks with him to do damage, especially with his down forward 1-1 strings and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So does he have any? Just kind of a random question. Does he have any like panic buttons or anything like that? Because I know panic buttons typically they're like a hop kick or something. Those are pretty unsafe. But I think he does have a magic 4, but he doesn't get like a full juggle off it, right?
Yeah, he has a magic 4, but he doesn't get a juggle off it. He just gets Oki. He just goes into Savage, and you can do like a little Oki thing.
Does he have anything else? Because you mentioned the back 12. that's kind of a counter hit catch. But does he have any other like really scary like panic moves that you have to worry about?
To think about it, not really. He doesn't really have. The most I see Miguel players do is sidestep hop kick.
Which is pretty generic.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything.
Gotcha.
Or like down 1+2 also. The big push.
What does that high crushes, right?
Yeah, I think from a distance it high crushes and it wall splats, so it's kind of scary if you're next to a wall.
Gotcha.
And especially if you whiff, you don't want to whiff and get hit by that move.
Gotcha. So actually, speaking of that move, another thing that we haven't talked about too much. I mean, we've kind of mentioned it, but I believe his range is pretty good though, right? Because forward 4, that goes pretty far. Forward 2, that goes pretty far. And then you just mentioned the push. I know the push has pretty good range. So he doesn't have a range problem, right? Not, I mean, almost all.
Yeah, he has long legs, so his range is pretty good.
Gotcha. So are there any things that like let's say you're going up against Miguel and maybe you're having problems with the down forward 1 or maybe some other stuff. Are there any like good moments where you could kind of bait him into whiffing because of the range issue? Like does he have any moves that maybe you should look out for and say, okay, well, he has good range, but that move in particular doesn't?
Well, let me see.
Or are you just sidestepping? Like you're just saying fuck it and just sidestepping?
You could just step most of his stuff and just magic for him out of most of his options. He's not too scary. What makes him scary is he has really good movement, so you have to be careful on him if you play somebody with Miguel that has really good movement, because his sidestep and his backdash is above average. So he could easily make somebody whiff and whiff punish or sidestep and hop kick you. So you have to be careful. Plus he has good whiff punishment.
Gotcha. So when I started like the whole conversation with the whole down forward 1 thing, so you can play him like that and revolve your game around down forward 1, but it sounds like for high level play, it's mostly just movement and whiff punishing. Is that right? Or is
it goes both ways? Because some people, some characters like you mentioned, like Bob and stuff, they don't have Magic 4 or nothing like that. So like Savage stuff works well, and like against Lars too. Like Lars, if he gets hit by, if he blocks a down forward 1, the most he could do is probably a mid or a 1-2 jab. But then he has, for some reason, Savage 2 always crushes jabs. Savage down forward 2, that will always crash jabs. So you have to be careful because that's a full launch. But Magic 4 has weird properties, so
that that's weird that you mentioned Lars, because like that's everyone discusses how good his jabs are and how that's one of the reasons that he's so good is because his jabs are so good. So that's kind of interesting that Savage 2 would just crush that. But
yeah, he would just it goes under jabs really well. For Magic 4, it'll go under a Magic 4 from time to time, but not all the time. Sometimes I've had that Magic 4 just beats it cleanly.
Interesting. Well, I feel like I'm like running out of questions for this character. One thing that I don't think we've discussed quite yet are his grabs. You mentioned the 1+2 grab, but I know he has another one that throws you away. So I can't imagine that Oki is too good on that one. I can't remember what the other grab is. Are his grabs in general, are they okay, or how?
Well, the one that he throws you away is okay. It does like 35 damage. It's all right, but he doesn't really get any serious Oki afterwards. His 2+4 grab leaves you right in front of him, so he gets a little good Oki afterwards. He gets like I believe he could down 2 you if you try to back row. He gets like a bound. Or if you get up straight, he could do down forward 4-1-1 on your back. Or you could do down forward. Or you could do 4-4-2-1 on your back if you get up straight.
And he just has the 3, right? He just has the 2 regular grabs, the one grab and the 2 grab, and then the 1+2, and that's it, right? He just has the 3 grabs.
Yeah, he has 3 grabs.
Okay. Not the biggest grab game in the world, but at least, well, it sounds like he has Oki off of 2 of them, so I guess that's better than nothing. Trying to think.
wall splat moves?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, we got the wall. You mentioned the push. I believe forward 4-2, 1, that wall splat's 2, right?
Oh, and actually, that isn't wall splat.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
No, it just hits you on the wall, and then you could get up. Back 4 is a really good move. It's safe, it's mid, and it wall splats. It's a big boot.
Oh, yes, but it's pretty linear, though, right? I mean, you can step it.
Yeah, it has no tracking whatsoever.
But, hey, it's a big boot, so why not use it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and any other scary ones? Well, you meant the forward 4, that wall splats, right? The forward 4-2.
Yeah, if you finish the whole homing move with wall splats.
So if you happen to catch, so I guess that's sort of a little safer option if you're good at maybe seeing if it hits. You can do that instead of the boot.
Yeah, because if you like poking somebody on the wall and stuff, they're gonna want to try to get away from the wall, so they're gonna try sidewalk, and you basically do it, wall splat them.
All right, and what other things does he have to wall splat?
To be honest, I think that's it. I can't really think of any other wall splatting moves he has. I think that's about it.
All right. Well, God, I feel like I'm having deja vu with the Jack podcast because that podcast wasn't very long. Because I mean, Jack is a pretty simple character. I feel like this character is like the exact same because if you take out Savage, his move list is not very big at all. And you mentioned Savage. There's only a couple things that you use out of it. Most of the time, you don't even use half of what's in there. So, I mean, he's a very simple character. I think we went through most everything. I mean, are there any areas or any moves that we didn't mention that you think might be important for Miguel players or people?
If you go into Savage, he has a down 4-3. It's a low. It's low mid, and after he hits you with it, he could go back into Savage. So people get confused because they try to punish it, but the second hit is a mid.
Is it? Does it give him plus frames on hit?
I'm sure it does. I think it does, but it's not too much. It's like actually it's minus on hit. Yeah, it's a minus on hit.
Okay, but I can't imagine it's too much minus. So
it's -2.
It's 2.
But the problem with the move is launch punishable. If you block the mid part, you could just hop kick him.
All right.
Most of his lows don't give good, like a lot of plus frames. The only low that he has that really gives him any kind of frames is down back 4.
So would that be the low that you recommend the most is doing down back 4, or since it gives him plus frames?
Well, let me see. Yeah, down back 4 is actually 0, and down back 3 4. No, actually down back 3 by itself plus 3. That's about it though. Everything else is pretty much minus or 0.
Gotcha.
So I'll do down back 3 the most.
Down back 3. Okay. Well, I've run out of questions. So, anything else that's noteworthy that we haven't covered?
Down 3 is a good low too, since it puts him. You could stay in crouch and it's +1, and it's only like -11 or 12. But those two lows, down 3 and down back 3, are the only lows that he has that are not from Savage that give him plus frames. Gotcha. But they small though, so like. If you hit somebody with like down back 3, and then you try to do like a down forward 1 afterwards, you have to be careful so you won't get counter hitted.
All right, and then you mentioned earlier that his lows, that some of his poking lows, they track to his weak side. I'm guessing that both down 3 and down back 3 fall into that category.
Yeah.
Okay.
Down back 3 and down back 4, are the track to his weak side.
Gotcha. So those are the ones that you have to kind of abuse if somebody's sidestepping over you. You got to use those.
Yeah. And down 4 is not too bad. But down 3 doesn't really track too well at all. So you have to be really careful with Miguel.
Gotcha. So you mentioned earlier that kind of in passing, you said he's not super scary. He's mostly just about movement. You can use the down forward 1 string depending on the character. So, based on everything that you said, it sounds like you kind of see him as a mid-tier character. Is there anything like really scary about him that worries you if you go up against a Miguel, or do you always feel like he's very limited in his options, and as long as you're careful, he shouldn't cause you any problems?
have to be careful. The opponent has like good movement, and he's really good at opening up defensive players because of all of his pokes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really good at opening somebody up. So if you have like bad defense, Miguel's gonna be pretty scary.
Gotcha. And then what? Let's say that you go up against a player who's really aggressive, or maybe a character who's really aggressive, like maybe say a Steve. Does he have pretty big problems with those kinds of characters?
Yeah, because he doesn't really have a lot of great counter hit tools. So I can see that match being kind of tough, especially Bob. I think Bob will give Miguel a little bit of trouble. I think Miguel's gonna have to stick to like pretty much trying to sidestep to Bob's weak side.
Mm-hmm.
But like Bob could really rush him down, and Miguel wouldn't be able to do much besides sidestep or try the Magic Four. But his Magic Four doesn't really give him anything. But his biggest problem is just that his damage output is really low.
Oh, is it? I actually thought it was pretty decent. I guess
his damage output is like average, and his tracking isn't so good. So he's pretty mediocre. I don't think he's horrible. I think a lot of people think he's really bad. I think he's probably one of the best mid-tier characters. I think. I don't think he's like I don't think Ling or anybody like that is better than him.
Gotcha. So I know that you've been doing your research, you're messing out with these other characters and whatnot, and you're trying to get that knowledge for Tag 2. I know that you're doing that. So are there anything like or any new tools or like maybe new properties or something with Miguel that might make him a little better when he hits Tag 2?
He has this new move. It's like a tackle. You probably seen it. He like runs at you and tackles.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I don't know much about it, I'll tell you that much. But
all right. They actually nerfed the move. It was like -1 or -2 on block.
Mm-hmm.
But they found it too cheap, so it's like -8 or 9 now. So you can't really do much after you block it now.
Huh.
Before he could bait through.
Does it lead to any is it like an ultimate tackle sort of thing, or does
No, just a big push and it knocks you down.
Oh. Does it track or was it pretty linear?
I'm not too sure if it tracked or not.
Well, it sounds like it was cheap, but it's not anymore. Any other information or new technology that he's got coming out?
He has a new homing move 443. It's -9 on block and it is a juggle on normal hit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. And his shoulder charge is actually 4-2-3. 4-2 + 3.
Oh, that's the tackle thing that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and it wall splats.
That homing move, that sounds like it would be. Do you know if it's high or mid?
It's high.
It's high. But hey, at least it solves the sidestepping problem if you're having, because I mean, you said it leads to a juggle, so that sounds pretty scary.
Yeah, but he has, they also his down back 4 tracks less.
That's kind of
Savage up 4-3. He no longer gets the juggle anymore after it.
So, based on the new information and these new moves, do you think that's better for him, or because it sounds like he's got some buffs and he's got some nerfs? Do you think he's going to end up being better or worse?
I heard he's still not too great in Tag 2.
Okay, so here's a random question for you. So Fab, he plays Miguel. Is his team going to be Bob Miguel, or is he switching to somebody else?
He's gonna switch to somebody else.
He's completely lost faith, huh?
Yeah, Miguel, because Miguel was he didn't get a damage boost or anything. He didn't really get anything that'll make him a better character.
Interesting. Well, that's all the Miguel questions I have. So, do you any other notes or comments or anything about Miguel before we move on?
I forgot to mention I did say Savage up 4-3. He gets a juggle, but he gets a juggle on normal hit with that move, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, which I guess you can enjoy for 2 months until people start playing Tag 2.
Yeah, I think he'll still be pretty mid tier. I think the good thing about Tag 2 is a lot of characters that weren't that great in Tekken 6 will be a lot more people will use them because you have a tag partner now. So any weaknesses your character will have, your secondary should help you out.
Gotcha.
Like if you have like damage problems, because of the tag system, you get a lot of damage depending on who you team up with. It'll help out a lot of characters.
Okay, so let's actually talk about Tag 2 a little bit. Well, I think we covered Miguel pretty well for the most part, but I do have some questions for you about Tag 2 because do you play any other tag games, or did you play the first Tag or anything?
I played Tag 1 a lot, but casually. I've never played in a tournament level. I played that game a lot.
Gotcha. So I'm curious about this because I know that I'm somewhat in the minority when it comes to this, but for me, like I think damage has always been a big thing with Tekken. You've always been able to get lots of damage from lots of things, and I'm sure a lot of people have noticed, like, they took out Rage, but you have Netsu, and like if you look at Paul, he's back to how he was, where if he hits you with a counter hit Netsu Death Fist, you're almost dead. So, I mean, damage is very easy to come by in Tag 2. And I was always of the opinion, even in the first Tag, I loved Tekken Tag 1. I played the shit out of that game, went to a lot of tournaments. I loved that game. But at the same time, I thought that the damage was a little ridiculous. And because of that, I thought it was kind of silly that if one character dies, the round ends. And this is just an opinion, and you can obviously disagree. I think a lot of people disagree with me about this, but I would actually much rather play 2 out of 3 rounds and have both characters need to die, like the DOA style, rather than playing 3 out of 5. Do you like the high damage and being able to kill the one character, or how do you see it?
It depends, because it's like, since it's a team game, you're like, I have 2 characters. Why, if one of my characters die, I lose,
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it brings like more strategy to the game, because you can't have none of your characters die. If one of your characters die, the game is pretty much over. You lose.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really be careful. Like, you have to be careful how you use your team, like team synergy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to be careful how you take damage. It makes the game a little bit more competitive and a little bit harder.
Gotcha. So do you like then the fact that they took out of course it was they say that it was a glitch in the first Tag, but do you like that they took out the tag cancel?
What was the tag cancel again?
All you had to do was up back, but when your character came in, you could instantly block. And they say, like, from what we've heard from like Harada and everything, that was a glitch in the first Tag. You weren't supposed to be able to do that. And they changed it in Tag 2 so that now that's completely gone. You can't tag cancel or anything like that, but you can attack really early and you can input moves. You just can't block. So do you like that, or do you think that maybe they should have had a tag cancel?
That sounds pretty cheap, because you basically, you don't lose anything for just randomly tagging out. So that's good they took that out.
It's funny that you say that, because I think a lot of older school players would disagree, because I know like STL, they were really big on the backdash canceling and the tag canceling and stuff like that. They were real defense heavy. But you kind of, to go back to having one character die and the round is over. If you tag in and you have to tag in, otherwise you're going to lose the rounds, you kind of fucked. But because you're going to eat something. But do you think that that we're going to see more like of an offensive style of play because of that? Because people are kind of forced into this situation where they have to attack?
People are going to be really careful what they do. I think a lot of people just like practice combos a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the damage output in Tag 2 is too crazy.
It is.
So somebody in the match is basically going to just try to kill you.
Mm.
So it's all going to come down to team synergy, what characters do the strongest damage. It's going to be hard for a lot of people to understand the system and get good at it.
One thing, I was watching some tag videos yesterday, actually, and one thing that I didn't even think about it until I saw it, but with Heihachi, he has the fake runaway. It's like back neutral 3+4, I think. And I actually saw that a player using that as a defensive tool, where they would tag in with him and then instantly do that. And it was essentially the same thing as a tag cancel. I mean, there you couldn't hit him because he was doing it as soon as he got in, and running away. So like there's just no way that you can make up that distance, which I thought was really interesting because it's like it was like a solution to not having a tag cancel. You know, you don't want to attack because you don't want to accidentally whiff when you come in and then lose all your life. But at the same time, you can't block, so just run away, I guess. I thought that was really interesting. So are there anything like any mechanics or aspects or anything that that you think are especially interesting that maybe might change the game and the way people start playing Tekken with Tag 2?
I think people will be a lot open to, because you can pretty much use whoever you want now. Since you know, I think even bad characters will probably be good now, depending on who you team them up with. So it'll be kind of interesting. I don't really know.
Okay, so here's my big prediction. Do you think that New York is going to be number one, or do you think we're going to have some other areas that are going to step up?
Okay, I'll be honest. I think a lot of players are going to fall off. I think a lot of people that were really good in T6 are not going to be good in Tag 2 at all.
Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of people. You're going to see a lot of different top players in this game.
That's a good thing, right? Mix it up a little bit, get some different names out there.
Yeah, that, and I think the game is really going to like expose people.
How so? How do you mean?
A lot of the top tier characters that were top in T6 got nerfed. Like Bob is a lot nerfed. You can't spam chops no more. For 1+2, you can't even hit confirming no more.
Oh wow! Yeah, I know they just massacred Law as well.
Law 2, Bruce is nerfed. Lars is even more nerfed. It's just a lot of things, man, that you can't spam no more.
So what kinds of? I'm gonna have you call some people out then. What names are you thinking of that you think maybe those players aren't going to be nearly as good in Tag 2? I'm gonna make you do it. You need to call a couple people out.
You want me to call people out?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. I think mostly a lot of the Bob players, I think, are gonna have a lot of trouble.
He's talking to you, Core. He's talking to you.
Not necessarily Core, but I think a lot of people, mostly anybody that use Bob. But I think the Jack players will have the most trouble.
Really? I didn't realize he got nerfed.
Yeah, he got a lot nerfed because I used him. I played Tag 2 a lot, and I used Lee and Jack a lot.
Jack?
I don't really think anybody that did well with Jack in T6 is gonna do anything in Tag 2.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize he got hit that much.
Yeah, because he like his crouching down back 1 is less plus frames on hit. They nerfed the range on a lot of his stuff. The movement in Tag 2 was way better. It's like almost like DR movement. Like when you could actually sidestep stuff. Because in T6 it was really hard to sidestep things, but now you can just sidestep anything. And Jack's tracking isn't really that good at all.
Yeah, I know most of it was using forward 1 to kind of track, and then down back 1. That was like pretty much it.
That's about it. And he gets mauled. That means like he gets rushed down really easy. He doesn't really have much to get you off of him. So Jack players like have a lot of trouble, especially with the damage output.
Gotcha. So what characters are you really excited for? Like what characters do you think are going to be just like insanely awesome, insanely fun, whether it be to play or to watch? Either way, like what are you really excited for about this game?
I'm waiting for the new announcements because Arata said he's gonna announce a lot of new characters, so a lot of people speculating of like who else is gonna be in the game because it's more than just 2. He said it's a group of characters.
Oh wow! You think they're gonna add brand new ones?
I don't think they're gonna bring new characters, but it'll probably be a character that's been in the Tekken franchise but hasn't been playable in the game.
Oh, so you're talking like unknown.
Yeah, sort of or like that guy from that movie, Shin, the one that Heihachi broke his back.
You think they're gonna put him in the game? Huh?
Probably because he said something about a character that he's gonna announce soon that nobody expected, but he's been attacking, like he's been in the Tekken universe before. So I'm guessing it's him.
Oh wow, yeah, I know a lot of people are thinking that he's gonna put Dr. B in the game.
Uh,
And then I thought it would be really funny to add Gon, because Gon was a stupid character, but that's just me. He was ridiculous. But
I hope they don't put Dr. B though, because that character doesn't make no sense. He just lays on the floor the whole game.
Yeah, he's like an advanced version of Lei, I guess. He just sits
I don't know how good was he in Tekken 3?
He was well, I never played him in Tekken 2, but I played him in Tekken 3. And I mean, he was okay but everybody was busted in Tekken 3, you know, like everybody had retarded stuff. So
what about Dr. B?
As far as I know, like I mean, I didn't get into like the advanced stuff, but I mean, he had some pretty crazy, stupid setups and stuff from what I remember. So, but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the ridiculous crap that was in Tekken 3, that's never coming back. You know, they're never bringing that stuff back. You know, where like King 2-1 links into 2-1 and like just stupid shit. Yeah. But I'm most excited for Ancient Ogre. That's my guy. That is my guy. I've been waiting for him since Tag 1 ended. So he's the guy I think is just going to be retarded. But I guess we'll see. So. Well, with that's all the questions I got for you, man. At least as far as Tekken is concerned. Any like last comments about Tekken before we kind of start to wrap it up a little bit?
I hope there's rumors that Violet is going to be in the game.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about that I've heard from numerous sources, even people that know stuff that everybody else doesn't know.
Do you think that does it sound like he's going to be just a character swatch for Lee, or do you think like an entirely separate character?
I heard probably they're gonna make him play like Tekken 4, because Tekken 4 Lee and Tekken 5 and 6 Lee are totally like two different characters.
That's true.
Yeah, so they most likely will do that. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
So you can play two Lees.
Yeah, that's probably the cheapest thing I can possibly do, because I would just drop whoever else I was using.
Do you expect anybody to really honestly allow the 2v1?
I heard they did an interview with Harada. He did it on stream, and when he was in New Zealand, the Shadow Showdown people, he said that when console comes out, that they're gonna nerf solo play. They're gonna fix it.
Fix it so that maybe it starts getting into tournaments, or fixing it so that
so it could be like so it won't be broken. A lot of people say it's really broken or whatever. So he wants to try to patch it so people can probably play single play, which I doubt. I don't think anybody's gonna play single play, but
gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting, because I would imagine that if tournaments allowed for the 2v1, that you would probably just play Lee. You wouldn't even play a second character.
Yeah, I would just use Lee, because I like going up against the odds or whatever. Like, imagine somebody wins a big tournament with just like one character by themselves, and everybody's using like two characters. That's pretty epic.
It's pretty retarded. So, well, with that, everybody's hyped for Tag, so we can only hope that it's awesome. And if you haven't out there, all you listeners, if you haven't done it already, pre-order this shit. You don't want to miss out on these DLC characters. You don't want to pay extra for that shit. So definitely get your pre-order on. I actually just pre-ordered mine the other day, so I'm ready. I'm hyped for it. I'm ready to be there at Best Buy as soon as it opens to get that game and start practicing it. So with that, that's all I got for the Tekken stuff. So kind of a little bit of a tradition here on the podcast, our last little segment. I call it Sound Off, but I'm going to make you bitch about something. I need some salt from Fighting GM. I need you, and it doesn't have to be Tekken related, doesn't even have to be gaming related, but I need something that makes you really, really mad, something that would just like cause you to pick up your bed and just throw it out a 20-story window. Like just, I need something that makes you super salty. So I'm going to give you the floor and just let you rant.
You want me to rant about something?
Yep, something, anything. I don't care if somebody like cut you off in the subway or something today, whatever it is. I need something that makes you mad.
All right, let me think about this. This is silly.
And some people have called other players out. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to. But some people have chosen to go that route.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything that'll make me really salty.
Oh, whatever. I know there's something that makes you mad. Something. women. That's usually a good. Like,
probably women. Let me think. Let me. This is hard. This is a hard one.
Oh.
I haven't been salty in a long while.
Oh, that's such a dirty lie. I know you woke up today and there was something that made you really mad, and you don't even want to tell anybody about it.
Let's see.
Is there like maybe a player out there you just hate, or maybe just like scrubby players in general that just make you really mad?
Oh yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do. There's this player called Devil himself.
Devil himself, huh?
He's from New York. This guy thinks when Tag 2 comes out that he's gonna be a top player and he's just gonna beat everybody.
Is he like a new guy, or does he post?
He's been around for a while, but he's always been bad.
Wow. Does he post on the boards or anything?
He posted sometimes, but I only get at him because he's been playing me like for like 2 years and he's still bad. Like he can't even get out of pools in a tournament. That kind of offends me.
Oh my god. He's so bad he offends you. That's rough.
Yeah, because I play him a lot, so I expect him to like level up, and he just stays at the same level and just keeps doing what he does.
That's harsh.
I really hope he gets good, man. But like so far, I don't see him doing anything still.
Wow. So Devil himself, you're being called out, man. Fighting GM is telling you to stop being scrubby and
step his game up. Stop wall jumps and unblockables and minus 16 moves into ducks and calling it baits.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I wish I would run into somebody who did that shit.
He does reverse ivory cutter as a keep out move.
Wow. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm done, man, on this.
That's ridiculous. So do you guys are you like on the opposite side of town from Fab, or you get any games with him or Bloodhawk or any of those guys? Because we just had Bloodhawk on the podcast, so. Yeah,
I haven't played those guys in a while since T6 is like dead and there's no terminals. Because I saw you at Power Up. That was like the last event I went to. There's nothing really, no reason to really go out and play too much. There's a lot of guys that I've sessioned with recently, but I told them that I don't really feel like sessioning too much because like Tag 2 is so different, man. So I don't really see the point of learning characters in Tekken 6 to have to relearn them again in Tag 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't plan on really like going in depth with any characters and like sitting there and studying them and doing like hardcore practice sessions or anything. But I have been trying to like pick it up and I play T6 on occasion just to make sure that I don't get too rusty when Tag 2 comes out and everything. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works and everything. But so are you going to go to the Texas tournament that's at the beginning of October? I can't even remember what it's called. I think AV Kazama, he's the one doing it.
Most likely. Hopefully I can go.
Yeah. But I know you're coming out to MOK. You said you were, so I'm going to hold you to that. But
yeah, I should be over there. But I just want to like get good enough in Tag 2, like get my hands on it and like practice it well enough till I feel comfortable to be able to go to a tournament and do well. I don't just want to go and I don't really know much about the game yet. I want to be comfortable.
So you're not really a fan of like those release night tournaments then?
Not at all, because nobody knows what they're doing. I don't really like playing a game or in a tournament or something, or playing a game against them. I don't know what the hell I'm doing,
Yeah, I always hated those fucking release tournaments that like GameStop and shit does. Like, dude, nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Why would you do a tournament for this game?
Unless you've been playing Tekken for like 30 years, then you should be fine.
Yeah, if you know how to Death Fist, I guess you're okay. But, yeah. All right, well, with that, that's all the subject and discussion topics I got for this podcast. So for the very last thing, I do like to give a moment to my guests, just in case they shout outs or anything else that you want to say. So for the very last word, I'll throw it over to you. If you have any shout outs or anything else that you want to say, go to it.
All right, I want to give a shout out to all the New York players, Real Law, Achilles, friends, family. They already know what it is.
And that's it? That's your shout outs?
Yeah, that's my shout off. I just kept
Everybody I know, shout out to you later.
it pretty much everybody I know. Shout out to all of them.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. We'll definitely have to get you on for Tag 2 because I know people want to hear you talk about Lee. And who knows? Maybe we'll even do Tag 2 is only a couple months away. Actually, I think it's less than a couple months now. But I don't know how many of the reruns that we're going to get to for everyone out there listening. We still have one more left for the Bears, and then that will end. We'll have at least one podcast or episode for every character. So we'll see what we can get done about reruns and all that good stuff. But Tag 2, we're really, really, really close, and it should be super hype. Hopefully we get new blood out there who start taking tournaments. Should be fun. Should be interesting. So with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, we'll be back. We'll keep doing these every couple weeks or so. Whenever I can get around to it and get people on. So with that, thanks again, GM, for coming on. We hope to see you doing well in Tag 2. And thanks everyone for listening, and we will catch you next time.